Poles are on a tour of Eastern Europe. First they were in Grodno, then Minsk, then in Dnipro, then in Tbilisi, and then in Yerevan. Now they've arrived in Kiev. Within their tour, we organized a festival that is taking place in Dnipro and Kiev. A modern dance in polyphony. What's more important, thought, emotion, or movement in the solo performance of an artist? How do the Brazilian Samba, Polish Oberek, and Georgian Perkhuli unite the world at the Space of Dance Festival? Watch next. Modern dance is very multinational and globalized. There are many collaboration projects between different dancers from various countries. Each country showed its folk dances. And it's interesting when you offer them your own folklore.
So in terms of choreographical decisions, we made them together.
And it is for us extremely important that the project we have created between Brazil, Poland, Armenia and Georgia can now go back to all of those countries and meet audiences in all different places.
Today we're holding our premiere evening Yanka Rudska. This is the premiere performance. This evening we're also holding the premiere of the play Annihilation by Yaroslav Kainar and the Totem Dance Group.
Тоді, коли ти починаєш оце робити, в тебе частина сюди входить в цей промінь, а потім ти...
These artists value plasticity, gestures, movement, and the emotional expressiveness of the body, as that is what modern stage dance is about. More and more people around the world are becoming interested in this accessible and spectacular art. Yaroslav Kainar, one of the best Ukrainian contemporary dancers, believes this is wonderful.
Я там собі напрягаюсь.
We're expanding our boundaries of dance. We invite foreign dancers and choreographers who work with Ukrainian dancers, and they provide the impetus for future collaboration projects. At first glance, there is nothing extremely complex in such a dance, but the apparent simplicity is deceptive. After all, it's not just movement, circling and jumping. It is a play with its drama, plot and production, so an artist cannot do without a director. My role in this performance was to help him to express himself clearly, to place the punctuation marks. He was very anxious, and I found observing him interesting, even though I'm a very biased viewer. Yaroslav began his performance at 4 minutes, but in the end, the play had grown to 40. There's a lot for a solo performance. The dancer's only assistants on stage are music and light. Now I've invited 2 composers for this huge work. They will work live, using city sounds and various non-musical instruments, a mixture of electronic music, live instruments and voices. In the play Annihilation, the artist is alone on the whole stage. But for the obsessed dancer Yaroslav Kainar, that is not just worry, but also an opportunity to fully manifest his creative potential. Well, he's also my husband. I watched this internal transformation, all of his fears. I say to him, you can do it. You have enough of what you can tell the world. He already has some very good experience. Annihilation is a term that has many meanings, which came from physics as one of the types of transformation of elementary particles when they collide. However, in the play, the phenomenon of annihilation symbolizes deeper meanings, like the imperishability of the world and reincarnation.
Для меня аннигиляция — это изменение. Просто мне интересно было, как...
For me, annihilation is change. I was wondering how I could dig deeper with this topic. While working, I look for new sensations and how I can convey a certain image. How I can reincarnate and become either an animal or a stone, a camera, a chest, or the floor. Will the viewer understand what they see when you're on stage in a particular state? I work with those images, and Christina helps me in this.
Я работаю с этими образами, и в этом мне помогала Кристина.
Initially, it was about the transformation of man within society and the events that happened to him. But we found so many parallels over the course of our work that we had to put them into the play. Everyone will find some layer for themselves in this play. The idea of the creators is global. Since everything in the world is interconnected, nothing disappears. A living creature can absorb information from the environment, even in the form of light, sound, and DNA pulsation. Through plasticity and emotions, the dancer embodied some indestructible value on stage. Yes, it transforms from one to another. There is also an ending. There are 3 tasks within the work. Those are my internal tasks, something I cannot exist without. I think viewers will find that interesting. In the end, there will be a constant question. Every work must raise questions. In his solo, Yaroslav goes into a special state when he is sensitive to impulses emanating from outside. He sent an impulse to everyone in the auditorium, and everyone had to feel as if they were part of that expressive dance. When you're alone on stage, you have more responsibility because you fill all the space with yourself and set yourself up to get a lot back in return. You are like a small ray of light that becomes bigger and gives away its energy, its idea, to then get ideas and thoughts floating around in space in return. This exchange is important. And if the audience receives it well, then I'm charged and I feel good. Sometimes the audience absorbs it. Then I have no energy, can hardly say a word. Such experiences also happen. I draw conclusions from that. I like certain moments of provocation. I like long intros that slowly gain momentum. I want the viewers to join that rhythm at some point and get hooked on it. So what does a 21st century dance look like? Kristina Shishkarova is absolutely certain that it is avant-garde, easy to understand and deep, honest and sincere. It is on that basis that Ukrainian and Polish choreographers seek to create a joint creative context. Our dancers from Poland meet people who are interested in modern dance and hold workshops. We do that in all countries to meet colleagues, young people, adult dancers, and also choreographers, so that there is an exchange. Because of that, we often see similar themes in various countries with an entirely different mentality, history, background. But Poles are close to us in mentality. I like the fact that they ask themselves about their own national identity, and I would like to also reflect on that and ask myself the questions they do. The outstanding Polish dancer and teacher Janka Rudzka united Polish and Brazilian dancers in an original choreography to create intercultural dialogue back in the 1950s. The artistic method of Janka Rudzka was actively picked up by modern Polish choreographers. Then we also came up with the idea that Poland and Brazil are interesting, but how about looking at how all of this happens in other countries?
One of the most important ideas of our project is an idea of being in a travel. This project is actually all about traveling. We travel to our roots, we travel to our traditional cultures, and we travel back, asking how the traditional culture can inspire contemporary choreography.
The musical tradition of the Caucasus, the concept of polyphony, inspired the creation of a joint performance. And we decided to add Armenia and Georgia. Their dance culture is completely different. The last step was everyone getting together in Poland, in Poznan. We spent 3 weeks working on the play. After the 3 weeks and the premiere in Poland, we went on tour. Polyphony is like a metaphor of the identity of peoples, in which such seemingly distant dance worlds unite.
We have a feeling that the contemporary art field, and especially contemporary choreography, is one of the most colorful, beautiful, multinational territories, which is widening with almost every next step. We've been looking for artists who are also activists in their own communities.
If people are open, you can enter that door. But the issue is not in the fact that we're different, but in the approach. With music, they give you a small idea, and you create what you feel. But it's very pleasant. I can never talk about such things without emotions. Emotional Georgia, yes. I want to thank them for everything. Space of Dance stretched all the way from the Caucasus to Ukraine. Representatives of several countries, Poland, Brazil, Georgia and Armenia, met on the stage of the Kyiv Young Theatre. They spoke different languages. Each of them have their own plasticity, traditions and school. It's a true polyphony in which everyone hears and supports each other.
That is such a universal language that it's becoming easier to communicate between each other in the studio. Of course, there are some language barriers in terms of, like the main language we were trying to communicate was an English language, but we have also few people that were speaking Russian, so we kind of helped each other within the group of how to translate what we actually want to do.
When you come to work for the first time, it seems difficult. But when we started working with the director and the choreographer, we didn't stop to think that much and simply did our work. I will say that it was very interesting to work with the others. It's nice to watch and enjoy them dance your folk dance. For each dancer, taking part in the Polyphony project was not just recognition of their talent. It became an opportunity to see the world, which had previously been a mystery to them, even though many participants were unfamiliar with choreographer Janka Rutska and her methods. I didn't know about her before that. If she did it then, it would have been different. In our time, it's also different. I had been practicing only Georgian dances from the age of 5, so it was the first time when I switched to a different dance genre, and it was a revelation for me. When we had a workshop in Georgia and we were told it was the Janka Rutska project, I also heard that for the first time. Under the terms of the project, all participants studied the traditional folk dances of their fellow artists. But according to Joanna Lesnerovska, the initial knowledge possessed by everyone was weak.
Despite many obvious differences between hot Brazilian Samba and Polish Oberek and Georgian and Armenian very strong fire dances, we started to discover a lot of similarities, and on that level we already discovered that we are actually all one family.
In addition, the Polyphony project represents 4 cultural layers. The authors inserted a message about dancers that can unite all people like nothing else. You don't need words here to be together.
Yeah, and I also think that there is one part of the working together and getting to know each other setup. It's not only what we share in the studio and what we're working on, but also how we live together, because how we actually behave with each other after working hours, and therefore we had also a chance to get to know each other in this sense.
We are also cooking a lot and eating together a lot and going for long walks.
And clubbing.
In clubbing together. This project is a lot about meeting, which is also a beautiful idea for life.
The project captivated its participants so much and became so popular among the general public that the expansion of its geography is now inevitable.
That will be a challenge to have more than 4, but why not, I think.
I'm ready. I can go wherever we can find artists hungry to discover their own tradition and to share with us and share with their communities and audiences questions about how in our contemporary life tradition can be still relevant, how it can bring us together, how it can bring us in joy, in ecstatic moments. So yes, we're ready to go.
I've also got lots of friends. It's great that it does not cause indifference. Some do not see the layers that are incorporated in this performance, while some have seen this multifacetedness in Polyphony and felt joy or surprise. This is the festival that we're starting. Our plan is for it to take place once every 2 years. The idea behind this festival is to introduce modern Ukrainian dance into the international stage context, because modern dance is not limited to a specific style. A lot can happen through it, and we love that. That keeps us going.